Hello, this is Deborah McMahon, astrologer, talking the Venus retrograde in Gemini with you today. Today is Friday, the 24th of April, 2020, and the time is just after 5:30 p.m. in Christchurch, New Zealand. I hope to have this recording uploaded to my Facebook within the next day or two. So let's have a dive into the Venus retrograde in Gemini. So Venus made her ingress into Gemini on the 4th of April this year, and she will depart on August the 8th, 2020, which means an 18-week experience of Venus in Gemini. Generally, she spends maybe 3.5, 4 weeks going through a sign, so 18 weeks in Gemini is a really significant experience. So the reason this is going to happen is because of the upcoming Venus retrograde. She will retrograde between the degrees of 5 and 21 degrees of Gemini. So her retrograde station will occur exactly on 21 degrees, 50 arc minutes of Gemini, and her direct station will occur at 5 degrees and 20 arc minutes of Gemini. So our significations of Venus. She represents our appreciation of beauty and art, our want for connection with others and for harmony, and she also represents valued possessions, our self-worth and money. So for Venus to move into Gemini, she's just moved out of Taurus. So Taurus is her earthy domicile. She has essential dignity there. So that means that when Venus is in Taurus, she can express her essential nature freely. The sign and the planet have an affinity with each other. Venus in Taurus has essential dignity. So when Venus is in Taurus, we want to slow our pace of life in order to savor our senses and hold close that which we value. As she moves into the next sign, Gemini, she finds a curious, sociable sign with shifting tastes. So when Venus is in Gemini, our pace quickens and we become more restless as we want to connect with others, as our want to connect to others is fueled by a need for novelty. These are the key dates for the Venus retrograde. So she moved past 5 degrees of Gemini and into her pre-retrograde shadow from the 10th of April. She will reach her retrograde station at 21 degrees of Gemini on the 13th of May. She'll start her backwards track through the sign after that until she reaches her direct station on the 25th of June at 21 degrees of Gemini. She will be free from her pre-retrograde shadow or moving past that 21 degrees of Gemini from the 29th of July. This is a chart of the Venus ingress into Gemini, and we can see Venus sitting at the bottom of the chart here at 0 degrees and 0 arc minutes of Gemini. This chart is set for my place in the world, which is Christchurch, New Zealand. There's the ascendant there at 28 degrees of Pisces, and the first house is the whole of the Pisces sign. The second house is the whole of the Aries sign, etc. So this is a whole sign house system that I use. If you cast a chart for your place in the world using a different house system, the orientation of the chart would be slightly different, but the planets will be in the same signs and degrees as they're shown here. So this is just a closer view of Venus and Gemini in that ingress chart. You can see here that I have attempted to mark 5 degrees and 21 degrees of Gemini here. So currently Venus is moving forward through those degrees. It's the 24th of April, so she's into her pre-retrograde shadow period, moving forward, but the more she approaches her retrograde station, that's at 21 degrees Gemini, the more she moves this way, the slower she will progress. So the slower a planet moves, the more her significations increase. So she'll be gaining importance the closer she comes to her retrograde station. Once she reaches her retrograde station, she'll turn around, or apparently turn around in the sky, and start to move backwards through those zodiacal degrees that she's just traversed. So she'll be moving from 21, 20, 19, 18, etc. degrees of Gemini. Halfway through her retrograde journey, she will come into a conjunction with the Sun, which is an occurrence that we'll talk more about later in this presentation. By the time she returns to 5 degrees of Venus again, she would be moving incredibly slow again, so a period of increased significations for Venus until when she reaches her direct station. Thereafter, she'll slowly pick up speed, moving forward once more through those degrees between 5, 6, 7, 8 through to 21 degrees of Gemini. So I'm going to attempt to take us to my software now, which is Solar Fire 9. And if you're impressed with it, it can be purchased from astrological. Just look for them online. So hopefully it's showing now. This is the same chart, the Venus ingress set for Christchurch, New Zealand on the 4th of April. And I have set her to move through a day at a time. So let's explore this Venus retrograde in software. So if I just move him forward a day at a time, there's just a little, not a glitch, which we just had the change of ascendant, which now shows that Venus is in the 3rd house rather than the 4th house in Christchurch, New Zealand the next day. Only 0 degrees, 56 arc minutes, so not much true movement. It's just not an aberration. It's just how this software shows the planets as the planets in the houses as the ascendant moves. So let's move her on another day and just keep her moving on a day at a time. She's just clipping her way through Gemini. Once she reaches 5 degrees, she's into the pre-retrograde phase. So the themes that you're exploring at this stage may be quite subtle at first, but you may return to them in a deeper way later on in the weeks to come. I should actually, it's like paint drying, so I should speed up my progression through the days. So 24th of April, 25th, 26th, you can see the moon just brushing past her for a brief conjunction on the 27th. So as we're moving into May, whoops, the ascendant has shifted again in this display, and so Venus is here, but she only made a very small real movement through the zodiac at that stage. She's approaching her retrograde station. Now she's just 7th of May. Yep, she's into her 21st degree, but you can see that day at a time, 9th, 10th of May, she's actually moving very, very slowly until the 13th of May when she reaches her retrograde station, and the software shows that with a little S being annotated there. So let's have a look at what's going on, or the most significant things that are going on when Venus is in her station. Let me see if I can pull up a little arrow to help us here. Draw an arrow. And my hand-eye coordination is under examination here. There we go. I've achieved what I wanted to. So we can see that Venus here is sitting at 21 degrees of Gemini in her retrograde station. So she's stopped all motion, increased in her significance, and sitting in square aspect to her is Neptune in Pisces at 20 degrees. So what does that mean? Well, while in her station degree, Venus is in square aspect to Neptune, and a square suggests a personal adjustment may be needed. Neptune helps us to feel that we are all connected. It blends, it confuses, and it can be associated with illusions. It can also signify higher expressions of compassion and artistry. It's possible now that we may become disillusioned stripped of our illusions, leading to a rethink of a situation throughout the period when Venus appears to transit backwards through our zodiac. So let's see if I can success moving those annotations off. Let's keep Venus moving. So if I move her a day at a time, you'll see that she's hardly moving at all. And then she's starting to very slowly inch backwards through the zodiacal degrees of Gemini. She's moving backwards, Mercury's moving forwards, and you can see that the two are heading for a conjunction on the 23rd of May. That's interesting because Venus is in Gemini. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and the two are conjoined together. So themes of communications about Venus affairs. And we also have a new moon with the sun and the moon conjoined together in Gemini on that day too. So interesting little occurrence. Let me know what happens for you then. Let's keep her moving. So Venus is still moving backwards from 17 to 16 degrees, but the sun is moving forwards, and we can see that the two are actually heading for a conjunction on the 4th of June. So there they are at 13 degrees each. Actually, if I just slip that into, if it maybe back, maybe an hour will do. There we go. That's close enough. Only one arc second separates them. I can play with the minutes, but with the seconds, but the minutes and seconds, but that's close enough. That's your Venus conjunct Sun. And in medieval astrology, that's called the cazimi. And what we are experiencing here is Venus has a brief moment of heightened brilliance. She's in the Gemini king's throne room, so to speak, and has the air of the king. So let me just bring up my notes. Yes, the potential disconnections and review of relationships or values that have been experienced through the retrograde could be illuminated at the cazimi and over the 3 days whilst Venus remains within a degree of the sun. So that's probably the day before, the day of, and the day after the cazimi. So there could be important insights to be gained around about this time. But any understanding gained is more likely to come from shifting perceptions and being adaptable in our communications because it's occurring in Gemini. We can express our caring for others through our curiosity and willingness to connect on an intellectual level. So let's keep Venus moving. I'll just set her back to a day at a time. There we have the Venus and the Sun separating from each other, moving in opposite directions. So from 8th of June, 9th of June, we've just had that change of ascendant again, so we can find Venus here, but that was just a tiny movement in zodiacal terms. So she's moving backwards. 13th of June, she's at 8 degrees. 14th of June, she's not much past 8 degrees. So she's starting to slow down. Again, we're going to have, whoops, my software ran away from me. I pressed a button by mistake and moved on to the 22nd of June. So Venus is already in her 5th degree and she'll be moving hardly at all if I move her onto the 23rd. It's only a few arc minutes that she's moving until she reaches the 25th of June, where she reaches her direct station. And you can see that the software has marked her with an S there for denoting her station. So let's explore this really significant Venus. You know, once she's slowed and stopped, her significations are increased. So it's an important date for Venus. And let's look at the most obvious aspects that are occurring. Let's see if I can grab an arrow. There we have Venus, and over here we have Saturn. And that angle between the two is approximately 120 degrees, or a trine, a helpful trine. So a helpful trine encourages the exchange of energies between the two planets. So I'll just bring up my notes about that. So we are invited now to integrate what we have learned since April 10th, when Venus was last in the same degree as she was entering her pre-retrograde journey through Gemini. But now we have Saturn in a helpful trine to the stationed Venus, suggesting we will be moving forward with a dose of reality, all supported by the stability that Saturn offers. For some, Saturn brings the strength to say no to a relationship or an aspect to a relationship, and it will feel like the responsible or mature thing to do. But Venus affairs are not the only astrological influence that are repeated from early April. We can see here, near to Saturn, we have a Jupiter-Pluto conjunction perfecting for the second time, with both planets in retrograde motion this time. So the backdrop of the worldwide spread of COVID-19, along with the financial impact of our efforts to constrain it, may play into how we connect with others once more. The themes could be revisited, but in a different way. So as I get rid of those annotations, that is the direct station. Let's start moving Venus on. So you can see now, as I move her through the latter parts of June, she's starting to slowly inch forwards through the zodiacal degrees again. I might need to just keep pressing the days quite swiftly at this point, because it might be a little bit boring for you. So slowly working her way through the first decan of Gemini, and moving into the second decan as we get into the mid-Julys. Just an ascendant change has moved Venus up here in this display here, but it was only a small zodiacal movement. Again, another brush with the moon. It happens monthly. Let's keep her moving forward. And she's moving at quite a pace now, and approaching her the degree that she actually turned retrograde in fairly swiftly. And she passes that point on the 29th of July. So thereafter, she's moving into new zodiacal territory, moved past that 21 Gemini barrier at last. And she'll keep moving at quite a nice pace now until she moves out of the sign of Gemini, which will occur on the 8th of August. There we go, a new sign experience. So that's the 18-week Venus and Gemini experience. It's going to move us back to the PowerPoint presentation. So this is where we left off. Venus has made her first pass, her backwards track, and her third pass through those degrees of 5 to 21 degrees of Gemini. And this is the bonus material because Earth and Venus have nearly circular orbits around the Sun. They are elliptical, but they're very nearly circular. It means that as we stand on Earth and look out at the night sky, night after night, at Venus moving around, we can recognise some regular patterns. And one of those is the 8-year return of the Venus retrograde to the same sign of the zodiac. So we're in 2020 now, experiencing a Venus retrograde in Gemini. If we look back to 2012, she's pretty much retrograding the same degrees, give or take a degree or two. But pretty much the same part of your chart was activated in 2012. So you can use that, reflect back what was happening in your life then. Perhaps there's going to be a return to those sorts of themes, or a continuation in a different way, or an ending of a chapter, or an opening up of a chapter, or an echo of some sort. And of course, because it's every 8 years, we can go back further than that to 2004 and even further than that. So If you feel like it, commenting about what you can recognize as a pattern from 2020, 2012, and 2004, please, I invite you to leave a comment. So I have a Facebook page. It's where I plan to post this recording. So if you're listening to it, you found the page probably. Excuse the ums. I typically put written content up here on a semi-regular basis. So if you enjoyed what you've heard today, think about following the page and having a regular read. And if you've heard of anything of value, of interest from this recording, please like, share, comment. I'd love to hear what you have to say. Thank you for taking this time out with me. Bye for now.